The BC government is sinking deeper into record levels of deficit and debt, according to new figures today. Finance Minister Brenda Bailey announcing the deficit is forecast to reach an all-time high of $11.6 billion. That's an increase from the spring budget, and new projections are for it to get even worse over the next 2 years. To break it down for us, let's bring in Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature. Rob, these are tough numbers to think about. Walk us through it if you can.
Well, Stacey, the new record deficit is only part of the problem for the finance minister today. Some creative accounting used by the NDP government here hides what in reality should be a much larger number. Let me show you. That huge deficit figure really should probably be closer to $14 billion because of the government's decision to cut the carbon tax, which blew a $2.8 billion revenue hole in the budget, except the NDP says those losses are basically canceled out by a one-time $2.7 billion legal settlement with major tobacco companies over the harms of cigarette addictions. The only problem with that is that the money for that was supposed to be paid out over 18 years, and BC is instead choosing to book all of it this year, even though most of it is not even real cash, and government's going to have to borrow that money and pay itself back as the settlement rolls in. Critics say that is political fudging to make the deficit look better. The minister says it is accounting. Here she is.
This isn't a magical number out of nowhere. This is a legal case. This is a, you can look at it. This is a real thing. These assets are coming from the work to hold tobacco companies accountable for the harms that they've caused Canadians and they've caused British Columbians. And other provinces are receiving this funding as well. This is not a make-believe thing. This is, in fact, a benefit that has flowed from the hard work of the Attorney General's office.
Some other interesting items in the first quarter update today. The first admission from government that finances are so bad it's going to have to start laying people off in the civil service. That is new. It is also looking at reducing office space in Victoria, actively underway right now to save money. Both of those part of a $1.5 billion over 3 years attempt to save money in government. That's going to be dwarfed by the $34.5 billion deficit over that time. Is a bit like bailing out a sinking ship with a shot glass. And then the construction costs are rising on projects too. The Belleville terminal replacement in Victoria, now 25% over budget. Here's the opposition reaction to all of this today.
I think that lack of clarity in terms of a clear plan moving forward is probably the most concerning, and when you layer that with how they're handling the tobacco tax settlement, given the lack of answers they wanted to give about carbon tax only a few months ago, and now they've magically stitched this in with the tobacco settlement, it's very problematic.
Then there is the debt that is set to hit a record $213 billion in the next 3 years. That is triple the amount that John Horgan inherited when he became Premier in 2017. All of this occurring during strike action by the BC GEU. Stacey, the GEU wanting money in wage increases that the government says it cannot afford. The union saying you can't balance these numbers we're seeing today on the backs of workers. There is no path in any of the numbers today to balancing the BC budget. The minister won't even say when and if that could occur, certainly not in the next few years. That is perhaps the scariest part of the numbers of all today, Stacey.